I'm going to read through Making the Changes too. As I read through, follow the words with your finger. I may ask you to stop the video or to do tasks to help you understand what is going on. Making the Changes too. Edward VI, 1547 to 1553. Edward was only 9 when he became king. He and all his advisers were strongly Protestant. They began to create a Protestant church. Draw an arrow from the word advisers to the box on the right that has the meaning. Advisor, which is a noun. A person who gives advice and help. Priests were told to wear simple white robes, not colourful ones. Priests had to replace stone altars with wooden tables. Draw an arrow from the word altar to the meaning on the left. Altar, a noun. A table used in religious ceremonies. In 1549, a new prayer book was written by the Archbishop Thomas Cranmer. It was in English. Draw an arrow from the word Archbishop to the box on the right that has the meaning in. Archbishop, which is a noun as it's a person. The head of a church in an area, usually a large part of a country. Underneath you have a picture of Thomas Cranmer, who was the Archbishop under Edward. He was responsible for the religion of the whole of the country. In Thomas Cranmer's second prayer book of 1552, an astonishing change was made. The old Catholic Mass was replaced by a much simpler service. Draw an arrow from the word Mass to the meaning on the left. Mass, a noun. An important Roman Catholic Church service where people eat bread and wine. They think it turns into the body and blood of Jesus. There were no executions. Underline this sentence. One Catholic bishop was imprisoned for not accepting the changes. Draw an arrow from the word imprisoned to its definition, which is to put into prison. Protestants worked hard to persuade people to accept the changes, but some people carried on worshipping peacefully in the old ways. In Lancashire, many Catholics managed to avoid the changes altogether. Draw an arrow for the word worshipping to its meaning on the left, which is the ways that people show their belief in God. Now turn to the page that says Mary the First, 1553 to 1558. Mary was a Roman Catholic. She changed everything back again. The Pope became head of the English Church again. All the changes made were cancelled. Services were once again held in Latin. Draw an arrow to the word Latin and write this definition. The language used by the Catholic Church, not understood by most people in England. So write the words, the language used by the Catholic Church, not understood by most people in Britain. Pause the video to write this. Mary began to persecute the Protestants. During her reign, about 300 Protestants were burnt to death. Underline this last sentence. One of these people was Thomas Cranmer. Draw an arrow from the word persecute to its definition on the left, which is to attack a group of people or treat them badly because of their beliefs or their ethnicity. In the picture, you have an example of what happened in Mary's reign. On the left is a Catholic church during the reign of Mary, and on the right a Protestant church during the reign of Edward VI. And a priest in the middle saying, "Now let me see. Whose reign am I in? What should the church look like?" Coping with the changes, ordinary lives. Ordinary people were caught up in the changes. Ordinary people did not always hold the same beliefs as their rulers. Sometimes people changed their minds freely. Sometimes they were forced to change their minds. Sometimes they fled to other countries where they hoped to be safer. During Mary's reign, it was dangerous to be a Protestant. Some very famous and important people were burnt at the stake. But most of the people burnt in Mary's reign were ordinary people. Draw an arrow from the words burnt at the stake to the definition on the left, which is tying the victim to a piece of wood which has been hammered into the ground. You can see a picture underneath. The stake is the upright piece of wood to which the person is tied. Other pieces of wood are put around the victim's feet. The wood is then burnt, as in the picture. We know quite a lot about some of these people because their stories were written in a book. This book is called the Book of Martyrs and was written by John Foxe. Draw an arrow from the word martyrs to its definition: a person who has died for something they believe in. John Foxe was a Protestant. In his book, he made all Catholics appear wicked and cruel. He wanted his readers to remember the courage and faith of the Protestants. Here is a picture from Foxe's book. It shows 4 people being burnt to death for their beliefs.